Thank you all, and good afternoon, council members and fellow residents of Evansville that are watching. It is a pleasure to present my first proposed budget as the 35th mayor of this city. I want to express my appreciation to this council for your strong collaboration in stewarding our resources, both this year and in past years. By reviewing and approving the annual city budget, you play a vital role in ensuring that we allocate our resources responsibly and in accordance with our city values. So thank you for your efforts to do what's best for the citizens of Evansville. This is not a solo process. So I also want to acknowledge my staff who have worked hard to compile this budget, along with the members of my team in the mayor's office, as well as all of the hardworking department heads here in this room. Stand up, wave. Each of these departments has made special efforts to evaluate their departments and to use their findings in establishing their 2025 budget goals and requests. An extra special thanks goes to Controller Robert Gunter and his team for their dedicated effort in assembling the budget package you have received. I hope you noticed the really good changes in that budget package. And of course, I want to thank the more than 1,300 people who work for the city of Evansville. We cannot thank you enough for the work you do every day to enhance and advance the lives of all Evansville residents. As mayor, I serve you. So it is my honor to stand before you this afternoon as a representative of the approximately 117,000 residents in our city. That many of those residents have never before now seen themselves represented in positions of power and leadership makes this moment even more special. This is a reflection of the progress we've made as a community, and it signals the direction we are moving. We are becoming a city where everyone, regardless of their background, can aspire to lead and contribute to a shared future. A city that embraces the power of inclusivity and diverse perspectives and breaking barriers in service to our residents. I use service intentionally. It has been the cornerstone of many of the efforts you have already seen from this administration. Earlier this month, on 8/12 Day, we brought numerous city departments, along with nonprofit organizations and volunteers from across the community, together for a block-by-block cleanup in Jacobsville. This wasn't a one-off. This was the launch of what will become a regular program. Several times a year, we will use data from our city departments to identify the needs, the neighborhoods with the greatest needs, and we will bring our team to help meet those needs. Last month, we announced an enhancement of our water bill relief programming, increasing assistance to qualified households from $10 to $30 per month. At the same time, we launched a leak repair program, giving residents the option to forgo the $30 monthly bill assistance in favor of up to $1,000 in leak repairs, the kinds of repairs that will lower the bills long term. As of last week, we had more than 2,200 residents signed up for this bill relief program, and while about 100 opted for the leak repair program. We also increased the amount of funding available for home repairs through the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which led to so much demand that we had to close applications in less than a month. In the Department of Parks and Recreation, we are serving our residents by fixing light fixtures and park amenities that haven't worked for years. Doesn't the Garvin Park fountain look beautiful? Doesn't it? And also, sure, we have provided needed service for our city employees through efforts like adding a full-time counselor to our healthcare clinic, ensuring that employees have the opportunity to take care of their mental as well as their physical health. At the same time, we are ensuring that the services we offer are efficient as possible. That's why in my first 100 days, I created a Blue Ribbon Committee to evaluate the development approval process. That group's work will pick up here very soon because we want to create a more streamlined approach to development, enhancing our city's ability to grow. As we work to revitalize our neighborhoods, we also are considering significant changes to how we develop our community. I believe it's time to join other communities across the country in taking a serious look at zoning reform. Communities like Cincinnati, Fort Wayne, South Bend, Boston, and many others are making changes in how they look at zoning laws. and they're seeing real results, increasing the number of housing units and the number of affordable housing units in their communities. We need to look hard at what they're doing. We need to determine what opportunities make sense right here in Evansville, and we need to take advantage of those opportunities, and I intend to do that. In other areas, we established both the Mayor's Education Roundtable and the Mayor's Interfaith Council to help foster collaboration and inclusivity across educational and faith-based initiatives. We began work with Crow LLP on a strategic plan for city government, which not only will help refine our city priorities, but will help us identify ways we can make city government more efficient. Already, we have begun seeing the results of this effort. Last week, Crow provided us results and recommendations based upon the city survey, our city employee survey. That survey identified strengths in our current city government, including strong leadership and vision of our city staff, city leaders' strong commitment to team and collaboration, our recent efforts to update documented standard operating procedures and policies. It also underscored, though, a few of the challenges we're facing and things we need to work to improve. Areas like recruitment and adequate staffing. We are struggling to attract qualified candidates and ensure adequate staffing levels. They cited our compensation levels as one of these challenges, and I'm going to talk about that here in just a moment. Crow also cited our limitations with current technology, noting opportunities to increase efficiency and information sharing by improving our technology. And they pointed out opportunities to improve constituent access to City Hall. Because while we have taken recent steps to modernize engagement with the public, including an increased social media presence and several external event opportunities like the Traveling City Hall, 812 Day, EPD's Walk-in Wednesdays, and our upcoming park chats, we have opportunities to do more. We can make better use of our vehicles like the city website. We can look at revamping our online document center, and we can find other opportunities to modernize the way we share data. We expect to move forward with many of these recommendations. In fact, we already are in the early stages of designing a city app to improve residents' access to services. And we look forward to hearing the results and the recommendations from the community survey that is forthcoming. All of this will lead into a full strategic plan, a plan that will both strengthen the services we offer and ensure that those services are easy for residents to access. Now, speaking of efficiency, we also commissioned a financial analysis through Reedy Financial to provide us a better understanding of the city's current financial situation, which brings me back to the reason we are here today, the city budget. We are presenting the 25 city budget a bit differently from past budgets. My intention is not only to present the budget, but to share the story behind the numbers, because the decisions we have made with this budget reflect our values, our priorities, and our vision for a better Evansville. Of course, our vision comes with some real challenges. Our city is dealing with old infrastructure, widespread blight, limited funds, low borrowing capacity, and low wages for our employees. These are tough challenges, but we're ready to tackle them. There's still more work ahead, but our financial review with Reedy Financial has helped us identify key steps to raise money for much needed infrastructure upgrades and economic growth projects. For instance, we're recommending that the Redevelopment Commission take a close look at a list of TIF properties. This is a common practice in other Indiana cities to make sure these areas are performing well by removing those underperforming properties and parcels. We expect a significant boost in annual revenue. We also will explore, I repeat, explore implementing a cumulative capital development or CCD rate. Of the 12 largest cities in the state of Indiana, Evansville is the only one that does not levy a CCD rate to fund capital projects. While the maximum allowable rate for CCD in Indiana is a mere 5 cents per $100 of assessed valuation, the implementation of this rate could potentially generate an estimated $2.6 million in annual revenues. We plan to set aside funds specifically to cover payments on existing or new debt, which often goes toward big projects like infrastructure upgrades, public buildings, and other major investments. This approach makes sure we can pay off those debts without affecting essential services. For us, this debt service will support key priorities like neighborhood revitalization, public safety, and development projects, all while keeping our city's finances stable. The good news is that we can borrow up to $25 to $30 million without raising taxes. And I'll tell you, we'll continue our work to identify and procure additional state and federal dollars to help fund city initiatives. Our city controller and department heads will provide a little bit more technical details as you go up throughout this day. But let me give you an overview of the budget document that you have in front of you. This budget, totaling $514 million, reflects our collective commitment to public safety, neighborhood revitalization, economic development, youth recreation, and delivering high-quality services for our residents. The revenue projections presented within it are strong, but we also know that things can change, so we have to be ready. And here we are. As a snapshot of where we are now, the general fund ended June 24 with nearly $54 million in cash investments. For all funds, the city had $463.8 million as of June 2024. That's a lot of numbers. And I promise you that our budget would tell a story. So let's talk about the story. First, it's a story that prioritizes people and place, ensuring that our city remains a vibrant and thriving community. At its heart is our unwavering commitment to the people who make our city great, our city employees. We are implementing increased compensation for them, not only to comply with state labor law changes, but also because fair wages are essential for retaining the dedicated workforce that keeps us safe, that maintains our infrastructure, and provides critical services for us every day. That's why we've recommended a 3% across-the-board raise for every city employee whose salary is not determined through a collective bargaining agreement. City employees, they have not received a meaningful raise since 2013. These are the people who are dedicated to serving our city and its residents every day, and they have not received a meaningful raise in more than a decade. This has been neglected far too long, and our city employees deserve to be compensated appropriately, and this is a step in that direction. While contract negotiations are still underway, I repeat, contract negotiations are still underway, we also are recommending in this budget a 7% increase for officers in our police and fire departments. Ensuring public safety is the primary job of government. These men and women are on the front line of that effort. They are the ones who run into burning buildings. They are the ones who confront criminals and who bring them to justice. To date, there have been 8 murders in Evansville this year, one more than this time last year. And to the credit of our law enforcement professionals, 7 of these 8 have already been cleared by arrest. Our public safety officers also find themselves challenged daily to confront the root causes that lead to much of the city's criminal activity: poverty, homelessness, mental health issues, and of course, addiction. As a city, we can support our public safety professionals by providing the facilities they need. I'll talk about this a little bit more in just a few moments, but we can support them by providing the tools and funding they need and that they are required, both for their jobs and to address the root causes. That's why earlier next month, I'm excited that we will announce the recipients of our 2024 opioid settlement funds to the tune of $1.3 million. We can also support our public safety officials by ensuring they are compensated in a way with their peers across the law enforcement community, both locally and across the state. So recommending a 7% increase is a step in that direction. This is how we are prioritizing people. So how are we prioritizing the place? First, by emphasizing our commitment to neighborhood revitalization. That starts by increasing our investment in the Affordable Housing Trust Fund to $1 million. a step toward our goal of ensuring that all residents have access to safe and affordable housing. We know this is a critical issue. We know that studies have identified a need for 19 or so hundred new rental units in Evansville, as well as another 2,700 for sale units. We also know that much of this need is for affordable housing. And if those numbers weren't enough, we also got a firsthand look at the affordable housing need this month. I mentioned earlier that DMD announced an increase in our Affordable Housing Trust Fund allocations for home repairs. That increase from $10,000 to maximum per household to $25,000 led to 46 applications in less than a month, forcing the department to close down the application process early due to overwhelming demand. This is a need in our community, so our focus will be on funding solutions. We're taking big moves. We're going to take some big moves to tackle blight in our city. Even though it's not in this budget package, we are setting aside $550,000 from ARPA interest funds to expand our efforts in cleaning up neglected areas. This allows us to raise triple the number of eyesores that we have throughout the city. On top of that, we're boosting investments in affordable housing by putting more money into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, buying land, and funding our land bank. These steps will help us support new housing projects, find development opportunities, and turn empty lots into homes that people can own. We're also preparing and planning for developer roundtables and creating incentives so our community can be truly ready for growth and progress. You'll also see our commitment to revitalizing neighborhoods through an increase in proposed funding to our city parks and recreational facilities. This includes improvements to Garvin Park. It includes fixing dated playground equipment and replacing lighting in parks across the city and upgrading the entryway into the C.K. Newsom Community Center. All of these projects are aimed at enhancing the quality of life and our quality of place for everyone in Evansville. And speaking of quality of place, let's talk about infrastructure. In the mayor's office, we frequently note that the two comments we hear the most from the public are, when are you going to fix our roads, and why is there so much construction on the roads? It's a little bit funny, but it's also pretty clear that it illustrates that Evansville residents are concerned about our roads. We hear them. That's why we're increasing our road budget by more than $2.5 million. That means additional investments in road paving, road reconstructions, and road maintenance, helping us to improve safety and connectivity. And we're investing in helping residents travel these roads by proposing funds to maintain and expand our METS Micro program. Since its launch as a pilot program, METS Micro has seen more than 20,000 rides. Ridership has grown more than 3.5 times since January of this year. And those who have used it have rated their experience with an average of 4.91 stars out of 5 on the METS Micro app. One called it the best way of transportation in Evansville. Another, a UE student, said METS Micro had allowed them to go beyond the campus area to get groceries and engage in community by providing a more affordable and safer option. And still another called it a lifesaver and a game changer. I freaking love it. And we love it too. That's why we want to maintain the program and expand it. Now, that won't fix every public transportation issue in Evansville. Just like the extra $2.5 million in road maintenance won't fix every road issue in the city. Not even close. But we're allocating resources so that we can start moving the needle in the right direction. We're also investing in our public safety infrastructure. We are adding $300,000 to the fire department's building maintenance fund, more than doubling that allocation from last year. And for the first time in more than 25 years, we are allocating funds to build a new fire station. The last time Evansville invested in building a fire station was 1996. Our city and its public safety needs have changed quite a bit since then, so updates to our fire stations are long overdue. Building a new station will help us meet the growing needs of our community and will help ensure faster response time for our residents. We're moving ahead with plans to build a water treatment plant, but we're committed to making sure that water and sewer services stay affordable for everyone. We know the consent decree requires us to fix our sewer system. And while that's critical work, it's also very expensive and could cost and raise costs for residents. That's why we're pushing to work with EPA and the Indiana regulators to find a better, more affordable solution. Our goal is to make this important improvements without putting the burden on our residents. I think it's a good way to describe this year's budget. It works to use taxpayer dollars efficiently in order to provide these services and improvements most critical to our city. It is a budget that is at work for you, created by an administration that is at work for you. By prioritizing housing, parks, infrastructure, and public safety, we are creating a city that serves its residents effectively while preparing for future growth. And we're moving Evansville forward in a way that's engaging residents to get involved. Let me give you an example. After our block-by-block cleanup on 812, we received a comment on our Facebook page, which isn't always a good thing. But this gentleman said, and I quote, "They came through my area, so many people on foot, plus all the operators with weed eaters, bulldozers, flatbeds, pickup trucks with trailers, etc. In about 45 minutes, this mob of volunteers and police officers had all the crappy houses and all alley debris cleaned up looking so good. I had to go out and weed all around front and back of my house just so it wasn't the messy one." This is how we work together to build a better Evansville. Like our administration theme, Forward Together, this budget underscores our dedication to moving forward as one community, acknowledging challenges and facing them head on, and seizing opportunities for growth and improvement. Even in uncertain economic times, with this proposed budget, we are moving forward. Even as politics on a national level, and maybe across the population in general, are incredibly polarized, we are moving forward, and we're moving forward together. Because here locally, in this moment, this budget represents a reset. It's a commitment to honest and transparent budgeting that prioritizes core city services. It is also a commitment to strengthening our interlocal relationships, advancing the work that matters most across the region. Together, we are building a city where everyone has an opportunity to thrive, where safety and quality of life are paramount, and where our collective efforts propel us forward. Thank you, and I look forward to our continued collaboration as we move forward together.